Hi guys, okay, I got a 2012 Ram 1500 here with the 5.7 liter Hemi, and we've got the box off today, just doing some work on it. And I thought I'd do a video. Basically, it's just gonna be a walk around of the rear frame area here with the box off, just for anyone that has this truck and wants to see where different items are located, different components, wiring, harnesses, things like that. So it might be pretty helpful. You know, sometimes it's hard to see where things are from underneath if you're new to working on these trucks. So this will be super handy for anyone that has this type of truck. So I'll just start sort of over here on the driver's side near the fuel compartment or fuel tank area. And I'll try to go through as many components as I can. You can obviously pause this video at any time to see the particular item you might be fixing or looking at or trying to figure out how it works. So I'll try to hit as many things as I can, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. So first thing would be the fuel tank. So obviously it's your fuel tank here. You've got a couple of different access points here. This canister right here is your evaporative emissions canister. So basically all that does is this whole system's pressurized, and so when instead of letting fuel vapors out of the gas tank, they're stored in here until the engine's started, and basically when you start the engine, those vapors are eaten up by the engine. So that's there, and I think you can remove that from the underside, but I'm not 100% sure. I would imagine you can. So it's got this heat protector here to keep the heat from the engine from hitting it. And then in this compartment here, this is your, and again, I don't know for sure because I've never been into this and I haven't really checked the service manual and I haven't owned this year of truck before. But this is likely you're going to be your fuel sending unit and power to your fuel pump here. So there's a harness there. You have a little vent hose, or it looks like actually fuel delivery line here, which will go to the front. You have a couple of different components here that come from the fuel fill nozzle. So the first one would obviously be the fuel fill, goes into here, and then there you also have a vent that comes off of the evaporation canister like I talked about, and it comes up and it is vented right here on the end of this sort of knob thing here. And then you also have, where is it here? So this small tube comes around like this, and you have this sensor right here, and this is monitoring the pressure on the system all the time. So if you have your gas cap off, obviously the system can't build up pressure, and so this would let the vehicle computer know, and you'd likely get a check engine light because of that. And it plugs into that spot right there on the tank. When you're actually removing, and yeah, so the second part of this video will actually be me putting the box back on, so that could be helpful for some people. I'll go through the mounting points and things like that. But basically the only thing holding this onto your truck is this tab right here that takes one, I think 10mm bolt, 10mm socket anyway, with a bolt that goes into the side of the box. And then this sort of cup or whatever clips into the side of the box, but it's not really holding a whole lot. And then obviously this is for your gas cap. Moving over to suspension components, you've got the top of your shock absorber here, and this is the bolt for it, which is in kind of an awkward spot if you look at it. It's above the frame here, so you can't get a wrench in from underneath, so you'd have to bring the wrench in around like this and get it on. So that's helpful to know, especially with this model here that has the mud guards or debris guards that come right down. You would have to remove those along with the tire in order to get to this, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, coilover springs here. You've got a vent here for the rear differential, and it normally has a metal tab right here, but this one rusted off. You've got your ABS sensor wiring right here, and then you've got a ground component here following the wiring to the back. You've got a couple different harnesses here. So what we have is, I've just got this tied up for right now, but this is your 7-way trailer with a 4-pin on top, and that's obviously wired into the rear harness. This is your license plate light. This is the wiring for the backup assist sensors. So those little round dots that you have on your bumper, they plug into this. You may or may not have those on your model. This is the wiring for the left tail light assembly. So you've got your reverse light there, and then you've got your turn and brake light and running lights right there. And then following that harness back up, it travels across the back of the frame. Same thing on the other side. The right side license plate light and the right side reverse, turn, brake, running lights. This is what the assembly looks like that lets your spare tire down. I've got the spare tire off right now so I can oil all this. All this is getting crown or rust checked, whatever proof, whatever you want to call it, today. So this is where the tire goes. You stick the one piece of your vehicle jack that's under this front seat into this, and you crank it down, and a cable lets the tire down here, and then you just turn this and take the tire off. So that's what that component looks like from above. And part of the reason I took this box off was to address some of the corrosion, where this vehicle's been crown rust sprayed every year since it was new, but you can see they just can't get the spray up into these spots because it's blocked by the box. I mean, you could if you really tried, but as you know, they just spray from underneath and don't really address these areas. One thing I should note is this area right here. All the lines have some kind of poly over top of them, the brake lines, but then you got areas like this where there's rust. So you really want to hit that with corrosion inhibitor. So yeah, you've got your right side brake line travels across the frame here and down to the side. But I'll continue around this way. You've got your exhaust hanger right here. And actually you'll see there's an exhaust hanger on this side. This would be for the models that have the dual rear exhaust. Dual exhaust. So yeah, that's that. You've got a heat shield here to protect the spare tire from the heat from the muffler. Same thing on this side with your ABS sensor mounting. Coil spring. Shock here. Shock bolt here is has a little bit better accessibility because you could come up from this side. But still, I think it would actually be easier to come over the top right here with a bent crescent wrench and just hold on to that as you back this nut out or bolt out. You've got your suspension linkages here. This is all pretty visible when the box is on. You've got this muffler mount here, welded on the top. You've got one sensor here on the evaporative emissions canister. Not sure what that's for, but I'm sure it's some kind of pressure sensor. And then in the front of the canister here, you've got a small hose coming off, the right there. And then you've got a larger hose, and that hose obviously feeds around and goes back into the tank. Your parking brake cable, I believe, yes, right here, comes around for the passenger side. Comes around, goes in right there. I should address the driver's side one as well right now. It comes down the frame here. Again, this will be visible with the box on. So I think that's pretty much it. You've got your cab vents at the back there, which you wouldn't normally see. Some cab mounts here. So there's the left side, driver's side cab mount under the box. And there's the passenger side one. You've got a little heat shield right there. So that's pretty much it. Now, I'm gonna put this box back on, so it'll just be sort of a video of me doing that, but I just wanted to show you where the box mounts. So the box mounts in it has 6 points of attachment, 6 bolts. So there's one here, one here, one here, so 2 close to the back. And then same on the other side, here, here, and right here. And all of these are bolts that come up from the bottom. They have captive nuts, I guess you could call it, on the box over there. So there's no holding the nut, they're welded onto the box. You just put a socket or extension up through here, for example, and you can pull that nut out. And that'll be the same way with this one. You actually go through the bottom of the frame and you come up the top. You can see it goes right through. Same with this one. So they're quick and easy to remove as long as they're not super corroded. And I believe they're an 18 millimeter. I'll confirm that once I edit the video. And yeah, so then also your bumper slash hitch, your class 5 hitch, I believe it is, mounts here. So you've got, and these are bigger bolts. So one mounts here, here, and then one comes from underneath. So 3 there, and then same on this side, here, here, and here. And they have the captive nuts as well. So let's go take a look at the bumper now so you can see what I was talking about. The bumper itself, so it mounts through that hole, this hole, and this side, or where is it here? So in this one, and yeah, up through this one, I believe it was. Anyway, it's 6 bolts in total. And then if you just wanted to take your bumper off without taking off the hitch assembly, so the 2-inch receiver there, you would just remove this bolt and that bolt and that bolt. And then while we're here, you can see that's your license plate light on the passenger. That's the driver's side. And then you can see your backup assist sensors. I think there's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or there. And there's the connector for it, like I talked about in the when we were looking at the frame. There's nothing really fancy going on with the box. It's just a basic box. It has this piece of weather stripping that goes right here, which I took off. It's obviously to stop air from flowing up between the cab and the box, and probably gives you a little bit better fuel economy because it creates a pocket of air. But I took it out because it was basically any dirt that falls down between the box and the cab gets trapped right here because it's a tight seal. So like when I took it off, there was gravel and leaves piled right up to here and just an area for corrosion. And if you look at previously in the video, you'll see behind the cab, I trem cladded this area because it was actually, obviously there's movement in this area. So if there's gravel in there, it's constantly rubbing the paint, eventually just rusts. So I painted all that and I got rid of that. So now there'll be a gap always between here and the cab to let debris fall through, and you can keep it cleaned out. But there's, for example, the front mounting bolts or mounting holes. You can see the bolts go right up into there and you just tighten it down. And then obviously there's the matching ones on the back that I already discussed. But there's the underside of this. There's the flares I was talking about, the mud guards, which you'd have to remove likely to access the shock, but I could be wrong about that. But anyway, it gives you a good visual of everything. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. So I'm gonna put this box back on here, and yeah, if you guys got any questions or if there's things I didn't hit, just let me know. But yeah, I hope that helps some people out. Any other things I didn't touch on, obviously you can access them and see them from the bottom, but I just thought this would be a unique perspective that not a lot of times people get to see of the vehicle. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so I just got a pallet in there with 2 pieces of 2x6 cut to length. And just the 2 pieces of 2x6 are holding up the pallet on a little bit of an angle here, so it's going to be a little weird getting onto. That looks pretty solid. it on a little further. Okay, yeah, so that's my setup there. It's pretty stable and allows me to tip it forwards and backwards just to have a little bit easier go getting it on. Got to drop the front down a bit more, make sure this is still loose. It is. It's good to make sure. Okay, we'll take all the weight off the machine. Okay, all the weight's off the machine, just back it out here. Okay, so I got my 6 bolts here, 18mm socket. I'm just going to start them all to make sure it's aligned. Get the 2 back ones because they're the easiest. And then I would say the next easiest ones would be the front. Okay, there's not as much play in the front one, so once you got them in, that's pretty well where they go. So I'm just going to move the bumper into place. Okay, I think I can get the bolt on this side, left side started. That stays there. I think I gotta come a little closer. started. There's actually a little pin that it sits on to kind of temporarily hold it until you get the bolt in. Oh, I'm hooked onto the muffler here. Okay, we're locked in enough we can move the forks. Just gonna start the other bolts. Okay, I'm gonna start reconnecting some of my wiring before I tighten those bolts. So I'll put this 7-pin back in. So you gotta take it out of this first, and then it has to come in from the back through the bumper. Snaps in. And then we'll plug it in. Okay, so I'm just going to tighten up the bumper bolts. 21 mil socket with an extension helps. I'm going to start with these back lifter ones here. Okay. Okay, it's looking all right. Bumper's level all the way across, which it should be. Okay, I'm just going to tighten down the 4 bed bolts, and then we'll put the lights in. Okay, we're going to put our tail lights in. These are super easy. You just need a T25 Torx. Just for these little screws. These little slots fit into these tabs. And then the screws go in from the side. Okay, then I just got to reach up and put this one bolt in to hold the gas cap assembly and the tubes. Okay, got it started. Just gonna finish it with this ratchet. There we go. That holds everything nice and tight. Okay. Okay, there it is back on, guys. Everything's lined up nice. Lights are working. Gas caps back on, cleaned it up a little bit, left the grease in there, the oil. So yeah, if you got any questions for yours that I didn't cover, just shoot me a message in the comments, please.